The fallout from the Jonathan Peternel Young 1 exploitation case has now come full circle to his father's pulpit. Indiana pastor Nathan Peternel faces up to 6 months of suspension from ministry. His church is hemorrhaging members, and the state's lieutenant governor is attacking denominational leaders who are trying to hold Peternel accountable. Today, we're breaking down the latest developments from a closed-door meeting at Life Church that revealed just how messy this situation has become. According to an official dispatch from the National Assemblies of God that was relayed to congregants at a closed-door meeting this past Sunday, Pastor Nathan Peternel will face significant disciplinary measures. The agreement reached with the Indiana District of the Assemblies of God includes a minimum 3-month suspension of his preaching license, potentially extending to 6 months, mandatory supervision by another pastor, 1 full year of counseling. Peternel has chosen not to appeal the suspension. The General Council of the Assemblies of God deferred final decisions on the suspension to Indiana district leaders. And when reached out for comment the National Assemblies of God last week, they were similarly directed to the state level. This suspension stems from an Assemblies of God investigation that began after police discovered something deeply disturbing during their search of the Peternel home last September. While investigating Jonathan Peternel for CSA material, detectives found more than 50 photos and videos of Nathan and his wife in intimate settings on their son's devices. This created an unprecedented theological and disciplinary dilemma for the Assemblies of God. The Pentecostal denomination strictly prohibits pastors from owning or viewing pornography. But do homemade intimate videos created within the covenant of marriage constitute porn? This question was a first for the denomination. Rather than tackle the theological nuance, church leaders ultimately punted on the porn question and instead found Peternel guilty of conduct unbecoming of a pastor. That finding is what triggered the suspension and counseling requirements. This is where the story takes a sharp political turn. Indiana Lieutenant Governor Micah Beckwith leads one of Life Church's 4 campuses and has positioned himself as Pastor Peternel's defender throughout this scandal. At Sunday's closed-door meeting, Beckwith argued that Peternel was being wrongly victimized by Assemblies of God leaders. He urged congregants to target denominational officials, accusing them of mishandling the Life Church scandal and the Peternel investigation. At one point, Beckwith claimed that Assemblies of God leaders had gagged Peternel. Life Church board members immediately corrected him, telling Beckwith he was wrong, according to a person familiar with the meeting. Beckwith's involvement in this case is particularly problematic, given that his own office is currently under a separate criminal investigation related to deepfake porn and possible ghost employment. Yet he has appointed himself as the arbiter of who should face accountability in this situation. Perhaps even more concerning is how Beckwith's public statements about the scandal have shifted over time. According to media reports, Beckwith has vacillated between talking about the scandal and directing congregants not to talk about it. Initially supported Peternel after the pastor admitted to making intimate videos. More recently claimed that Peternel did not make intimate videos. This contradiction is significant. Peternel himself acknowledged the existence of these videos in his October address to the congregation. Now Beckwith is denying they exist at all. This is a pattern we've seen repeatedly in institutional cover-ups. Rewrite the narrative, deny what was previously admitted, and shift blame away from leadership. The scandal has taken a severe toll on Life Church's membership. The church has experienced a wave of families departing for other congregations, the resignation of 3 top pastors, widespread anger over shifting explanations of what happened and who bears responsibility. Despite the exodus, Sunday's closed-door meeting drew strong attendance from members across all 4 Life Church campuses. The meeting was held at the Noblesville campus, which has continued to serve as a hub for political activity even after Jonathan Peternel's arrest and sentencing. In February, Beckwith and Turning Point USA hosted a State of the Union watch party with students at the church, demonstrating that the church's entanglement with partisan politics remains undisturbed by the scandal. The most recent escalation came after Law and Crime's Jesse Weber published body cam footage from the September 10th search of the Peternel home. The footage revealed several deeply troubling facts. First, Pastor Peternel continued bringing his son to church and around children, even after knowing he was suspected of possessing CSA material. This is an unconscionable failure of pastoral responsibility and young one protection. Second, in the body cam footage, Peternel states that his son may have been molested by an older woman when he was younger. This raises serious questions about what Peternel knew, when he knew it, and what interventions, if any, he sought for his son. Interim lead pastor Mike Mileto, who is Peternel's brother-in-law, initially told congregants they would address the body cam footage at Sunday's meeting. In a message to members, Mileto wrote, "We don't want you hearing things secondhand or wondering what's going on. You're family, and you deserve to hear from us directly." But when Sunday arrived, Mileto announced they would not take questions on that topic. Another promise broken. Another opportunity for transparency squandered. Since Jonathan Peternel's arrest in October, former congregants and former members of Nathan Peternel's youth groups have come forward with disturbing accounts of pastoral boundary violations. Multiple individuals report that Nathan Peternel regularly demanded they discuss sex with him in inappropriate detail. In one documented 2016 encounter, Peternel demanded to know how a 7-year-old girl and her fiancé pleasured themselves in the bedroom. Peternel brushed this incident aside in a private meeting last year, but has yet to address it publicly. This pattern of sensualized conversations with youth raises serious questions about Peternel's fitness for ministry that go far beyond the homemade videos found on his son's devices. For 4 years, Beckwith and Peternel co-hosted a podcast called Jesus, Sex and Politics. The podcast stopped posting new episodes 2 days after the Peternel's home was searched and their electronics were seized by police. They also deleted 2 episodes specifically dealing with SX and SA. The timing of these deletions is notable. What was said in those episodes that Beckwith and Peternel no longer wanted accessible to the public? Throughout Sunday's closed-door meeting, congregants debated who should be held accountable for the mess inside their church. According to the person familiar with the meeting, there was no outright shouting or fighting, but the tension was clearly present. Here's what we know about where things stand. Jonathan Peternel has been sentenced to 6 years in prison for possession and trafficking of CSA material. He has faced legal consequences. Nathan Peternel has been found guilty of conduct unbecoming of a pastor by his denomination and faces up to 6 months of suspension. He did not attend Sunday's meeting. Life Church leadership has failed to provide consistent, transparent communication to their congregation and continues to block questions about critical issues like the body cam footage. Micah Beckwith faces no consequences for his role in defending Peternel, attacking denominational accountability mechanisms, and spreading contradictory information to congregants, all while his own office is under criminal investigation. The Assemblies of God took action against Peternel, but only after police discovered the videos during a criminal investigation of his son. The denomination has been criticized for its handling of the situation. Nathan Peternel's suspension may last up to 6 months, but the damage to Life Church extends far beyond that timeline. Families have left, pastors have resigned, trust has been shattered, and the church's entanglement with partisan politics through Beckwith's leadership has compromised its moral witness. The question for Life Church members is this: is this really the hill you want to die on? Is defending Nathan Peternel worth the cost to your church's credibility, your children's safety, and your Christian witness? And for those watching from outside, pay attention to how institutions respond when confronted with misconduct. The pattern here: minimize, deflect, make promises you don't keep, and attack those demanding accountability is textbook institutional self-preservation. The Assemblies of God took action, however imperfect. Life Church leadership has not. And Micah Beckwith is actively working to undermine even the limited accountability that exists. That should tell you everything you need to know about where priorities lie. Thank you for watching. If this coverage was helpful, please like this video and subscribe for continued updates on this case and other accountability stories. See you in the next video.